They say laughter is the best medicine, yeah? And long-suffering Kenyans need a lot of medicine because as a country we have gone through quite a lot, okay? So allow me to share with you a joke that has had me in stitches. In fact, I still laugh. Kenyans are very creative. Here goes. Now, after a long silence, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the IEBC, has come out with statistics on the attendance of the recent Jamhuri Day celebrations at Kasarani Stadium. Now, according to IEBC figures, 200,000 people attended the celebrations, okay? But unfortunately, only 2,000 were captured by the Kim skit, yes? So according to the IEBC, the other 198,000 still entered the stadium using other means other than the gates, which were recording, which had the Kim skits. What makes this joke even more telling is the fact that we all know that the capacity for the Kasarani Stadium is 60,000. So how somebody came up with 200,000, or rather, how the ABC came up with 200,000 is probably the same way they have come up with figures that don't make sense. Yeah? End of joke. Now, that is one of the most hilarious political jokes I've ever had in my life. Yeah? And I think it shows how resilient Kenyans are if they can still make jokes about some things which are very serious. Yeah? But that's a joke, and I believe it's a democratic right, it's a constitutional right of Kenyans to air their views and surely to crack jokes, to make light, yeah, of things which are serious. Yeah, I believe it's a constitutional right. Anyway, on a more serious note, drama bin drama, a rap drama. Now I believe any credible political analyst must also be very observant. So I'll start by asking a question. What is currently happening on our political scene? What are Jubilee doing and what are NASA doing? Let's start with NASA. Where is Baba? Yeah? Where is Raila Odinga? Okay? We have not had any statements from him. Surely he should have made a statement after the postponement of his swearing in, yeah, which was a major disappointment to NASA supporters. But he has not made any statement yet. Okay? Now all the top guys within NASA are quiet. Yeah? Ignore the propaganda that's flying all over social media, yeah? And trust me, all the top guys within NASA are quiet. In fact, their silence is deafening. What's happening? Now if we shift over to the Jubilee side, they have toned down their insults and abuses towards Raila Odinga considerably. Have you noticed that? Okay, hold on to those thoughts for a minute and let's dig deeper into this. Now the repercussions and consequences of the Kasarani Stadium Jamhuri Day celebrations are much larger than most Kenyans realize. Now we have had problems that are a bit similar to what we're having now, where the opposition is, which has got massive support, has a problem with the government. Yeah, we've had this situation many times before. Yeah, we had it during the Moi days. Yes, especially leading shortly after the repeal of the Section 2A. Yes, and we didn't end up with an empty stadium for a major national day. It didn't happen. More recently, we had the 2007-2008 clashes. Very serious problem. Okay? Now, before those elections, which were held towards the end of December, yeah, we had a Jamhuri Day, yes? And by the time those Jamhuri Day celebrations were being held, yeah, tensions were already very high in the country. Yeah, they had reached fever peak. Still, the stadium was packed for the national celebrations of Jamhuri Day. Okay, Now, what happened on the 12th of December 2017 will go down in history as a record-breaking low turnout. Okay? Now, politically, this, as I've said, as I said a bit earlier, politically, this has had a devastating effect on the Jubilee government. Okay? It just goes to weaken the government. Why? There are very many reasons, but top on the list is if anybody was still dreaming or in dreamland or asleep, yeah, and burying their head in the sand like an ostrich and saying there's no problem in Kenya, then what happened on the 12th of December will just expose them. Expose them as being deaf and dumb and clueless. Completely clueless. Now, I've had a number of extremely ridiculous excuses which I just pass off as jokes, yeah, and jokes which are not exactly hilarious, but jokes which are ridiculous, yeah. I'll share one with you. There's this story that, nowadays with the technology, coverage of TV stations, etc., etc., Kenyans prefer to follow the Jamhuri Day celebrations at home on their TV sets. Wow. Now, for that to be true, then TVs must have been invented very recently. Anyway, let me not waste time on the ridiculous. Now, the long and short of this is that this has weakened the Jubilee government considerably. And this has happened at a time, at a very wrong time for the Jubilee party. Why do I say wrong time? Wrong time because despite denials from both sides, despite both sides being very secretive, and besides the negotiations currently going on between the two sides of the political divide being kept top secret and confidential, okay? The truth is, negotiations are going on. Negotiations are ongoing, and negotiations are almost coming to an agreement, okay? Or rather, both parties are on the verge of coming to some sort of middle ground, okay? Now, as I've said here many times before, when negotiations the world over, when you negotiate something, yeah, you need to bring something to the table, yeah? And the less you have to bring to the table, the lousier the deal you're going to walk out of the table with. It's as simple as that. And so this is the wrong time, yeah, to have things like Kasarani December 12th happening to you, yeah? And you're supposed to be on a negotiation table, and you're supposed to be negotiating from a position of strength. Now, in the next episode of this series, we will go further into these negotiations. I will reveal to you exactly where the negotiations are headed and what we should expect from those negotiations in the next few days. Okay? Hey, that one you cannot miss. Okay? You know the usual drill, top left-hand corner, click, and you should be able to get to the next amazing episode of this series. This is Chris Kumekucha.